I've never done this one before. Cerium sepium is a neat little hair streak that's actually fairly common. I screwed up. The rest of it is sepium. And here's the egg of sepium. The egg is very intricate. It's an intricate pattern of little cells, very delicate little pattern. The micropore up here at the top is the entryway for the fertilization of sperm enters. Here's what the first instar looks like, kind of typical of lycanids or lichenids. Little larvae with very, oops, sorry. Little larvae with proportionally very long hairs or setae.
Yeah.
Or
No,
okay.
just,
And
do just the ones.
and a darkly colored head. In this case, it's a dark brown. Many of the lichenids have black heads. The larva, as it grows larger, becomes green and it develops these interesting parallel stripes, one on each dorsal side. And as it gets older, these very faint diagonal stripes become a little bit more prominent.
I don't recognize the host plant. What is that?
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Maybe you can recognize it a little bit better so I can see a pattern here. It's Ceanothus, sorry. Cerium sepium becomes kind of a handsome larva. Again, the white stripes become more prominent and the little setae or hairs become more numerous but proportionately shorter. And then the final instar, the fourth instar, is a rather handsome larva, pretty much all green. It blends in beautifully with the Ceanothus leaf that it feeds on. And here's a pupa, pretty typical of lichenid pupae. It has several swaths of silk to tie it to the leaf. And yeah, you don't really when there's this egg. Anyway, this is the pupa, and it's tied down with the silk strands around its petal there, hold it in place. Another view from the dorsal side.
What are we seeing off the left there? The sort of.
Oh, this is the old fourth instar larval skin that it shed when it was pupating. Now that's sepium, right, John?
That's a beaut, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is sepium, and it's on one of the, I think that's tall buckwheat that it's on. And they nectar on just about anything that's available, but buckwheats are among the favorites. And again, like the Beer's hairstreak, they have kind of a castellation appearance on the hind wing. And here's a real typical habitat. They're kind of a forest edge butterfly. They like air. This is what used to be Reeser Creek before the big fire. The main road going up Reeser Creek, and there's lots of Ceanothus, these nice shrubs along the edge of the road. Here's a little
Ceanothus that we used, the variety we used?
Yeah, velutinus.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Ceanothus velutinus. And these are great plants for butterfly larvae. This is a close-up of the Ceanothus, and of course they have the big showy white flowers, and then they've got the many leaves. The leaves overwinter on these plants, and so you see these old dull leaves from last year, and then you see the nice fresh new leaves. The larvae will be feeding on these fresh new leaves.
They don't feed on the old leaves at all?
I'm sorry?
They don't feed on the old leaves at all?
Not as far as I know. I've never seen them on the old leaves. They could. They probably could. Especially on a bad year when the leaves, when it's a late spring.
Well, they diapause as eggs, so sometimes if they, brocate diapause, they might have to eat old leaves.
Sure. And sometimes on these overwinter leaves, sometimes you see some that look reasonably good still in the spring. And they could feed on those, but they certainly prefer these nice, fresh, succulent ones. Now, we have at least 6 species of butterflies that use Ceanothus as their larval host plant. Does anybody name one of them?
Hairstreak.
Which one?
California tortoiseshell.
California tortoiseshell, yeah. And the California tortoiseshell is a leaf eater. Anyway, the California tortoiseshell does use the leaves, and they can be present in large numbers on ceanothus. Sometimes they will actually denude the whole ceanothus plant. They just absolutely strip it of leaves on an outbreak year. Anything else that uses
Pale
this?
swallowtail. Pale swallowtail.
Pale swallowtail, very good. Pale swallowtail also feeds on leaves, and they'll lay a single egg. They have big round eggs, and they'll lay it on the dorsal surface of a leaf, like right there, usually about mid-height on the shrub, and then you get these big green larvae that develop. We also have a skipper. It's called the Pacuvius skipper that uses this same plant. They also feed on leaves. And likewise, they put a single egg on the leaf, but they put it on the underside of the leaf. They're harder to see. And then when we have the lichenids, we have the one we're talking about tonight, the Ceterium sepium, the Hedgerow Hairstreak, which the adult butterflies lay a lot of eggs. If you get one in captivity and it dumps its eggs, you might get 150 eggs, and they'll all hatch. I mean, they're really pretty easy to rear. And they do feed on the leaf, or yes, on the leaves as well. And then you have things like the brown elfin, Calophrys augustinus, and it feeds on the flowers and the little fruits that are produced from the flowers. The California hairstreak, Calophrys californicum, or Ceterium californicum, also feeds on the flowers. So we have a lot of things that use, and then spring azure. The spring azure uses the flowers. Was that 7 then? 7 species that feed on this one plant.
How about the ceanothus silk moth? Does it use it?
Yeah, probably does, yeah.
I thought so, but I had some confusion. Where I got my confusion, I don't remember, but I became not sure at some point.
Well, that's the one of those moths that actually has the name of the food plant in this name that's actually represented. We'll cover a situation tonight where that doesn't, it's not so. And,
What about that?
yeah.
So 7 species feed on this plant. It's a really very cool plant, lovely plant, and of course it's very fragrant in the spring. It's also a terrific nectar plant, one that's fresh. Sometimes you'll see a whole suite of swallowtails draped all over these plants' nectaring. So that concludes, I believe, my presentation on that one.
It's also, it's one of those plants that does very well after burns. So when you go back up to that roadside that's all toast last year, another 3 years, you'll see millions of Ceterium sepium.
That'll be good. And actually, this place where I took this one photo we saw is just outside the burn, so that actually is still there.
The germination is dependent on a burn. Whether it's 100% dependent, I question, but normally the seeds won't germinate unless they've been heat treated, like a burn.
Okay? That's